So welcome to today's lesson on reflecting on a coordinate plane. So we last talked in class about what a coordinate plane was and how to plot points. Now we're getting into reflecting. And you should remember that word from last year. We're talking about geometric figures. But just in case you're not, we're going to go over it now. So reflecting coordinates over an axis. And like I said in the last video, there's some notes I'll tell you when and when not to record. You're going to want to pause and get this recorded when I finish. When you reflect a point across the y-axis, the y-coordinate remains the same, but the x-coordinate is transformed into its opposite. Right now it's a lot of like, oh my gosh. Once you see it in motion, it'll make more sense to you. When you reflect a point across the x-axis, the x-coordinate remains the same, but the y-coordinate is transformed into the opposite. All right, so what we can do is, one of the papers I gave you in class today that had the coordinates on it, use one of those grids today for this assignment, and you can just follow along with that grid. So if you want to pause and get that paper out, do that. Otherwise, let's keep going. So the reflection of the point xy across the y-axis is the point negative xy. Don't worry about writing this down. Just pay attention right now. So if we have a positive coordinates, if I have the example, and you're just watching, 3, 2. So if I go over 3 and I go up 2, if this is my original point and I'm wanting to reflect it across the y-axis, I'm reflecting across this. So I go negative 3 and up 2. So that's the reflected point. So negative 3. So how originally it was positive 3, whoops. Now it's a negative 3 because you're going across the y. So again, you don't have to take notes yet. We're going to do some examples in a second. So now if we have the same coordinate, 3, 2, but this time we're going to reflect it across the x-axis. So again, our x-axis is right here. Well, we're still going to have a positive 3, but this time instead of a positive 2, we're going to go, instead of up, we're going down. So over 3, down 2. And then that is our new point. So if we're going across the x, it's the opposite. Okay, so now we're going to get into some examples, and I think I do want you to, obviously, if you need to watch a few more, that's fine, but if otherwise, just push pause and try to do these on your own. We'll do a couple together. So with 3, 4, so I go over 3, up 4, plot my point, label it. So if I'm reflecting these across, this says reflect the following points across the x-axis. So again, my x is right here. So I'm reflecting across this one. So basically I want to flip it over. So if I have a positive 3 and a positive 4, I'm going to have a positive 3 and a negative 4 this time. So that's going to be a 3, negative 4. My next one is 0, 6. So over 0, down 6. Right? Oh, sorry, positive 6. So over 0, up 6. So again, if I'm reflecting across the x, flip this point down. If I went up 6, I need to go down 6 this time. So that's going to be a 0, negative 6. So if that's making sense to you, push pause now and continue the other 3 on your own, and then push play and see where they go. So I'm just going to plot the points now. So negative 3, negative 4 is my original. Transforming into negative 3, positive 4. 5, negative 8. Transforming, flipping up. And then negative 9, 9. So negative 9, up 9. It's my original. Reflect that down. Negative 9, goes right there. Okay, so that's reflecting across the x-axis. So our next one has us going across the y-axis. I'm not going to go through all of these because that was a pretty lengthy one. So going over the y-axis, we're going to be doing the same thing. If our first point is 8, 4, so over 8, up 4. I don't like blue. So now we're reflecting across the y. So we're going to take this point, flip it this way. So we're going to go -8 and up 4. So as you can see, your x-axis, your x-axis is the one that's getting, the coordinates getting negative. 2, 6, so we go over 2, up 6, and we flip it, and we have now -2, +6. Okay? So continue on with these. So again, we're reflecting across the y-axis. And I'm going to move on to the next topic. Actually, I'll do a couple more, just for you to see. So -4, -3 is the original. Reflected over there. It's going to be a +4 and a -3. Whoops. -4. -4, -3, so you have to be careful. 5, -8, so over 5, down -8. Flipping over here, -5, -8. So I did 2 more. Hopefully that's good. If you want to do the rest of them, you can. You don't have to. And I'm going to stop here because we're getting ready to move into shapes. And I think that's going to need to be a part 2. We'll stop here.